Here we go, here we go. What's good, YouTube? What's popping? What's happening, families? What's happening, release? We're about to start off doing this Q&A. You know, just kind of introduction on me, you know, who I am, you know, what I'm about. So, first off, my name is Cravon Gillespie. Have to be in California, man. And, yeah, I'm a professional athlete. I run track for a living. I run for Nike. And, yeah, let's go ahead and start this Q&A. You know, I ain't finna waste any of y'all time. First question from my guy, Demon E90. All right. Advice you would give a freshman doing track in college? I would say for me personally, my freshman year at Mount Sac was cool. I feel like, you know, if you come in, you locked in, you know, you not really, you know, trying to do the extras, you about your business, I feel like you'll do some things, you know, go in there, try to learn, you know, listen to your coach first off, and, you know, just handle your business. If you got bigger goals, you want to go D1, you know, you want to eventually become professional, you know, you got to handle your business so you can get out of, you know, whatever situation that you're in. Whether you're in junior college, whether you're at D1 already, whatever the case may be. But for me, I went to junior college, so it was about, you know, sticking to the script, you know, not falling off track. But if you're already in Division I, you know, just do your thing, man. Do your thing. You still got 3 more years. You still got time to develop. So it's no point in rushing, trying to be one and done. I know a lot of, you know, a lot of college athletes that try to be one and done, you know, and they trying to follow suit of this person and that person, but stick to your own script. Don't try to be like nobody else. That's a key right there. Don't try to be like nobody else. Hopefully that answers your question. Number 2, Albert C. Lee. All right, my guy Albert. Recap your sophomore year at Mount Sac. So if you didn't know, I went to Mount Sac Junior College out here in California. I would say my sophomore year was definitely a banger. It was a banger for sure. Just from the simple fact of, you know, I was more focused. Freshman year, you know, I was doing the party and the hanging out, you know, X, Y, and Z. And so, you know, sophomore year, I got locked in. I was like, okay, Craig, you can't be losing. You can't be, you know, dealing with this, that, you know, lock in, perfect your craft, you know, do things you need to do to improve. And that's what I did. You know, I think I dropped about a second or half second off of my 100. And I dropped a whole second, I think, in my 200. So sophomore year was definitely a bang. That's when all my offers and everything start rolling in. So I think definitely that was the start of everything. Question 3, Mr. Flocko 209, my dog John. What's the deal? What made you choose track over football? How tough was that decision? I would say for a while, it was really tough. I know junior college, I still wanted to play football. My coach was like, nah, freshman year, you know, sophomore year come, I'll let you play. Sophomore year came, Brian never let me play. So that was kind of disappointing. I got to Oregon, and then, you know, coaches and people would ask me like, look, you know, you can return some kicks, you can do this, you can do that. Oregon, they wasn't letting it happen. So that was kind of like the end of everything. And so it was a little frustrating, but I came, you know, to realization, I want to say my last year at Oregon, my senior year. And so then it was like, okay, football might be behind you. You know, I still sometimes want to go out there and do a little something, but I feel like I'm cool now. I feel like I finally kind of mellowed out, you know, and got the grabs, and just kind of, you know, wanted to stick with track. So that's a good question, my guy. Question number 4, Steve _most_dope. My dog Steve. What was the biggest obstacle you had to overcome up to this point in your life? Man, that is a banger. That's definitely a tough question. That's a tough question just because I've been through a lot. Dang, that's crazy. I would say, man, that's tough. I would say probably probably, ooh, man.
3 weeks later.
2,000 years later.
That's a tough question. That's a tough question right there. That's a tough one. I would say high school, probably. Coming out of high school, I was a half credit short. Like literally in half, not even a full. A half credit short of going Division I. Straight out of high school. I feel like, you know, I had the talent. I had, you know, the capabilities of going Division I. And that was like always a goal of mine. But I feel like now I've overcame that. You know, I've overcame that. That was a very tough decision. But also another one, I would say Mount Sac sophomore year. I actually signed to Oregon. I signed to Oregon, and my grades and everything wasn't right. My grades wasn't right. And that was tough. That was tough. And so I had to basically wait another year. And that was very hard on me, just because, you know, all my friends, my family, you know, yeah, I'm going to Oregon, and so on and so forth. And then boom, them transcripts drop, and it got ugly. You know, now I can laugh and smile about it now, but back then that wasn't funny. But that was a tough decision. You know, I had to get back in the lab. I had to get back in the books. I had to knock things out, and then boom, I got up there, and then when I did get up there, you know, I handled my business. So that was definitely a turning point for sure. Question 5, Donovan Snyder. How has this crisis affected you, and in any way, and in what way? I would say it was depressing at first when they canceled the Olympics. I would say that definitely hurt. But a lot of good have came out of this as well. I would say, just getting closer to family, hanging out, doing different things. Now I got a YouTube channel. I got a vintage clothing line on Instagram. I feel like, I got some good out of it. I got my backyard done. I got my weights in the backyard. So now I'm able to work out in my own backyard. So I feel like, it got a lot of different stuff out of it. But I would say the good outweighed the bad a little bit. It's kind of annoying wearing a mask every day. It's cool. I guess it's cool. Next question. Romero Sala something, but we ain't gonna worry about that. How did it feel running 993? Man, that thing felt crazy. It felt like I wasn't in my body. That's what it felt like. Like if you go back to the clip, it was definitely like, it was crazy. I could have ran fast because I kind of started leaning forward too much because I knew I was running fast. So it felt great. It felt great, and plenty more to come. Question 7, only TB09. Have you thought about trying out for an NFL team knowing you had a football background? I would say no, I've never gave it any thought. I honestly didn't know it was that easy to just, pick up the phone or email or whatever and try out. I thought you actually had to have like college film or whatever, but no, I haven't really thought about it. I feel like it's probably something in my contract with Nike that I wouldn't be able to go do something like that, or, I don't know. I don't think it'll work out, but I'm always willing to try out for the New York Football Giants. That's my team. So, if they ever need me, if they ever see this video, I'm ready to return some kicks, return some punts if you need me. Only if you need me though. I'm not trying to go out there, and go run into linebacker 250.
First down, getting one of those tight ends, Mike McNeil.
So only call me if you need me, and that's like Super Bowl type thing. Question 8, B Swift 88. One thing you wish you knew earlier in your track career. There's definitely a lot on the business side that you should know and you should get, you know, pointers from and talk to some people, you know. But besides that, you know, it's kind of the same thing, you know. Don't put too much pressure on it, you know. Just go out there and run, do what you got to do. You run fast, you gonna be in the mix. I feel like it's really that simple. Question 9, Gillespie. Right. What was the transition like going from Mount Sac to Oregon? I feel like the transition, the meets was more popping. You know, it was more people in the crowd. It was a little more buzz. When you got that Oregon uniform on, everybody want to talk. Everybody want to take pictures. You know, you got younger kids coming up to you. It was definitely, you know, a little more pressure, a little more buzz, but it was cool. You know, I'm built like that. So I'm not really, you know, I don't really get frazzled, you know, too much as far as, you know, having pressure and different things. But it was fun. It was good. You know, go out there, you run fast. Track, just run fast. That's really all you got to do. So it wasn't that big of a transition. I feel like indoor was probably the biggest because in California we don't have indoor season. So going from, you know, never have indoor season to jumping up there, and then now you have indoor season. So I feel like that was probably the only thing. Question 10, Just Cam. Were you nervous for your first pro race? It was more so of like, what am I gonna run, or, you know, what's gonna happen, or like stuff like that. But I wasn't like, you know, nervous and got butterflies and things. I was actually, you know, pretty excited. It was Prefontaine, you know, I was racing some high caliber athletes, and so it was definitely gonna be put on a show. But I wouldn't say I was nervous. Next question, Edison Williams Jr. What made you start to do track? That's a good question. When I was 6 years old, I started to do track. I always played football, always played basketball, and I feel like my parents just didn't want me in the house. Like, they just didn't want me in the house. And so that's basically how it started, honestly. Question 12, Gillespie. I don't know about that one. What kept you motivated while at junior college? I would say just trying to be great. Like, I knew like I should be, you know, in Division I. I knew that I had the talent. I knew I had the drive, the ambition. Like, I knew that I can run with them, you know, watching them meet every year on TV. Like, I knew I can run with them. So it was just like, keep grinding. Like, you don't want to do these 2 years at junior college and then go back, you know, and kind of like start over. Like, what are you gonna do with your life? And like, you know what I'm saying? So I always loved track, and it was just going out there and just putting the work in, you know, putting the right food in my body, and just going out there and trying to perform every time I got on the track. And so sophomore year, that's when like all the coaches and, you know, emails and offers and everything came in. So it was just, you know, basically trying to be great, trying to leave my mark at Mount Sac, and, you know, continue to do that at other schools as well. 13, Jake Lee 91. Things you enjoy besides shoes and track. Playing my PS5, playing 2K with my brother and my cousin, going bowling, you know, different things. You know, I like to, you know, go. I don't know, bro. I don't know. I feel like let's stick with those two. For the most part, bro, I just be at the house, you know, I be chilling. I like to chill, like chill vibes this way. 14, Errol Carney. Tips for us high schoolers trying to go D1. Listen to your coach. Don't get sidetracked. Stay focused. Work hard. Everything else will fall in its place. You're not finna go from high school, like, let me start over. Question 14, Errol Kennard. Tips for us high schoolers trying to go D1. Work hard. Listen to your coach. Pay attention to detail. don't get sidetracked. That's the best advice I can give you. That's golden. 15, last but not least, Joe Sorella. How was your experience in Doha? I would say World Championships was a blast. I had my dad there. We was able to spend time. You know, we went to the mall basically every day. It was fun. It was my first World Championships. You know, won gold. Got my first gold medal. It was fun. I couldn't ask for anything better. It was hot as hell. Like, it was so hot. Like, literally, bro, when you walk outside, you're sweating. Like, it hits you. Like, somebody just socked you. Like, it hits you. Like, boom. You're immediately sweating. It don't matter what you got on, you're sweating. Like, you can go out there, tank top, whatever you think that's gonna keep you cool, not happening. They even had, like, air conditioners, like the stadium, it was air conditioners at the bottom of the stadium. Like, it's that hot. Like, it was ridiculous. But overall, the experience was good. It was fun. I had a blast. And definitely many more to come. That's it for the questions. I appreciate y'all tuning in. If you stayed for the whole video, comment, yeah. All right, if you stayed for the whole video, comment that, man. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Continue to rock with your boy. It's my first video. We finna continue to drop these bangers. This is what y'all asked for. You asked me to make a YouTube channel. I got bangers. I'm always doing something fun, you know, going on adventures, doing different stuff. So let me know what other videos, you know, you want to see. Anything else, just let me know, you know, write in the comment section, DM me on Instagram. All that stuff will be in the description. I appreciate y'all tuning in with your boy, and I'm outro.